Hey guys, I am back officially. I know it doesn't really seem like I've been gone because I did pre-upload a lot of videos before I actually went on vacation, but I have actually been gone for a month. Today's video is going to be a video that I actually didn't have time to film before I left. This is the video that was supposed to go up on the first week of January, but I just, like, before we left everything was hectic and I had a lot of things to get. Even though it is the first week of February, this is going to be my TBR for the year. So yeah, I have a lot of books that I really want to get through this year, but these are the books that I really guys, really need to read this year. I have this little reading bingo thing that I want to work on this year, and one of the things that I put on this list is that I want to finish 3 or more series that I already started. So the first series that I really want to finish is Allegiant by Veronica Roth. If you guys have followed my previous videos, you know that I have an issue with this book. I went to the release signing thing to meet Veronica Roth. I saw this book, but before I could actually read it, I saw spoilers for it online, so I never got around to reading it. I want to read this book. I need to finish this book because I went through all the trouble to get this damn thing signed. So that's the first series I need to finish. The next series I don't think is going to be a surprise to any of you guys. It is the Mortal Instruments series. I talked about this before. I read the first book. I really enjoyed it up until that ending. The ending kind of threw me off a little bit. It was a bit weird. It's such a loved series and everybody always talks about it. I do have basically almost all the books in my collection. I just haven't read them, so I really want to fix that, and I want to read the series just so I could actually know what happens and see why people like this book so much. And then the third one is, surprise surprise, the Vampire Academy series. I talked about this before as well. I talked about how the covers for this series kind of threw me off for a really long time, and then I finally got around to reading Vampire Academy, and it was so good and I really loved it, and I loved Rose as a character. And once again, this is another series that everybody just talks about and loves, and that I have all the books for, but I just haven't read them. Those are the 3 series that I started that I really have to finish, and the rest of the books are just books that I really want to read this year. And the first one is going to be Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I bought this book I think around this time last year, and I really wanted to read it, but for some reason, I think just because I kept buying so many books, it just kind of got buried in my collection and I never actually read it. I did start reading it, as you can see. Like, I got through the first 5 pages of it. I really want to finish it because so many people love this series so much, and I know Fairest just came out, which is kind of like the prequel slash story of the villain in this series, and then the last book, which is Winter, is going to come out. So I really want to read this, and I have the first 3 books. I have Cinder, I have Scarlet, and I have Cress. So I have like no freaking excuse not to read this, and I really need to read this because it just looks so good, and I love the covers, I love the spines. It's such a pretty book and I want to read it. Next up is another book that has been raved about so much, and it is the Fallen Kingdoms trilogy by Megan Rhodes. Everybody loves this, and I actually started reading like the first 2 or 3 pages of it while I was on vacation, but I was on vacation and I was with a lot of family members, so I didn't actually get very far into actually reading it. So I just know the opening, but everybody loves this. And when we got back from our trip, my brother actually bought this book for me, and he was like, here, I didn't get you anything for Christmas, so here you go. So he bought this for me, and even though I don't have the second book in the series, I really want to read this, and I hate those gem stickers though. I really, oh. The covers are so pretty, and I've heard so many great things about the series, and I really want to read it, so there you go. That's another book. Next is another book that has been absolutely raved about everywhere, and it is The Unbecoming of Mary Dyer. I have all 3 books in this series. I've heard nothing but great things about this book, and I feel like I need to join in with everybody A lot of these books are just books that everybody loves, and I just see these books so often online and I want to read them, but for some reason I just don't, and I want to know like why everybody is so obsessed with these books. So you know, I want to read them for that reason, and that's just kind of it. I am very easily influenced, and that's not a great thing. Next book is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I have never read a Jane Austen book, and I feel like that is not okay. I watched the movie adaptations for Pride and Prejudice. I've watched like the web series. I mean, I'm obviously very familiar with the story because it's just been everywhere, but I love the story so much, and I love the opening lines of this book. I was gonna make a video about this at some point, but the opening for this book is just so great, and it is one of my favorites. And even though I've never actually read the full book, I just love those opening lines for the book, and I really, really, really want to read this book. Last but not least, this is another little thing in my bingo. Read or reread a book that I read in high school, and I have two options for this one. I'm still not entirely sure I'm gonna go with either one of these, but these are kind of at the top of my list for options. And these are books that I read in school, but I really, really, really hated. Guys, I hated these books with a passion. Because I did read them in school, I feel like that kind of might twist my perception of them a little bit, if that makes sense. So I want to give them a second shot. The first book, I actually didn't read this in high school. I read this in middle school in 8th grade, and it is Animal Farm by George Orwell. I think one, I was just way too young for this book, and two, the teacher I had at the time was a little over enthusiastic, and he expected a lot from us, which in a way it's a good thing, but for this particular book he kind of forced us to stay after school to read it, to analyze it and stuff, and nobody really wanted to stay an extra like hour and a half. So I hated this book because of that. I really need to read it again because everybody loves it so much, and I understand its importance. It has so many great themes, I think, with like government and corruption and just society, and I feel like it's a meaningful book to the history of literature, I guess. I just have such biased feelings towards it, and I feel like I need to give it another shot because of that. So I might read this. It's one of my options. This one I actually did read in high school, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I read this for my AP English class in high school my senior year, and I think I hated it so much because we just analyzed the crap out of it. So I feel like I need to give it another chance and see like what I think about it now that I'm older, and I'm just gonna read it for the story. I was kind of choosing between this one and Tess of the D'Urbervilles because that's another book I absolutely hated for the same class. But I think I hate Tess of the D'Urbervilles a lot more than I hated Jane Eyre. So I want to give this one a chance. And then maybe if I end up liking this, I might give Tess of the D'Urbervilles a second shot, but I really kind of don't want to. So those are the books that I want to read this year. It is my 2015 TBR, if you will. Also, if any of you guys are interested in doing a buddy read-along with me for any of these books, let me know, because for some of them, particularly like maybe these, I might need a buddy to read them with. And right now I'm in a huge reading slump. I can't get myself to read, and I tried listening to audiobooks, but it's not working, and it's pissing me off because I want to read, but at the same time I just can't bring myself to actually read. Let me know if you guys are interested in doing a little buddy read along. I would be more than happy to, because like I said, I really need to get back into reading at this point. Before I go, I do want to let you guys know, I started blogging, like writing blogging. I've had a blog for a while, but I never actually posted much on it. I'm trying to change that. So if you guys are interested, I will leave the link for it down below so you guys can go and check it out and let me know what you guys think of it and everything. So yeah. Okay, now that is it for this video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye guys!